Look at this. Nowhere that I drove yesterday had any signs about wet paint being in the area. Clearly, there was some wet paint in the area. Boy, does that make me mad. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Today's kind of a maintenance day for the truck here. The original plan was to change my oil because I just hit around 20% on my oil light thing on the truck. I have 8 quarts of the AC Delco Dexos Full Synthetic 020 blend oil and a AC Delco filter. That's kind of what comes on the truck stock. I know there's probably better stuff out there, but I get a really good discount from a local dealership, so might as well use that discount and get some really cheap oil. But the dealership that I bought this truck from, ironically, just sent me a letter in the mail stating that I had 2 free oil changes left on the truck. So I might as well use the free oil changes versus the stuff that I use for now. So I have an appointment to get the oil changed tomorrow. It is time to rotate the tires on this thing. I finally hit 3,000 miles on the Toro Trailblade XT tires. I want to keep them rotated roughly every 3,000 miles so I could get the best wear out of them. I like these tires so far. If you want to see like a full review on these Toro Trailblade XT tires, let me know in the comments below and I will happily do one. And then the big thing, I don't know why I didn't do this when I put them on. I want to weigh on the scale one of the stock 265 6518 Goodyear Wranglers versus these bad boys. I want to see how much more these weigh compared to these, because you could feel the difference. I could feel it in acceleration, I could feel it in stopping, and I lost some MPGs. If you're curious about the miles per gallon that I lost, stay tuned to next week or the week after's video. I'm doing a full breakdown on the miles per gallon and what I lost, because I drove this truck 3,000 miles with the stock wheels and tires and 3,000 miles with these aftermarket wheels and tires, and I have it all charted out, the same fuel, the same gas station, and the same driving. I want to break down the fuel mileage that I lost with running the bigger wheel and tire setups. So with that being said, I need to get this truck up in the air, get these wheels and tires off, and get these bad girls rotated, because I'm sure you could hear the wind noise. There's like a storm brewing in. I want to get these rotated before it rains. Okay, wheels and tires are off the truck. And if you don't know the rotating pattern for rear wheel drive vehicles, you take the 2 drive wheels in the rear, you move them straight up front, and then you take the 2 front ones, the non-drive ones, you crisscross them and you move them to the back of the truck. If you have a front wheel drive vehicle, you take the 2 front drive wheels, you move them straight back, and then you take the 2 non-drive wheels in the rear, you flip-flop them, and then bring them up front. If you have an all-wheel drive vehicle all the time, you just take the 2 rear ones, crisscross them, bring them up top, take the 2 top ones, crisscross them, take them in the rear. If you have directional tires, meaning they can only spin one way, and you will know if you have directional tires because you probably either bought them or like it'll say on the sidewall if they're directional. You could just move them, the rear ones to the front, rear ones to the rear. You can't flip-flop them because they'll be going the opposite direction. And then if you have different size tires like a Corvette with bigger wheels and tires in the rear than the front, you could just flip-flop them on the axle. You can't swap them front to back. And if you have directional different size tires, well, you can't rotate them ever. So I hope that made sense. Let me get these in the right positions real quick, and then we will weigh one of the stock ones versus the aftermarket ones. Alright, so here we are, got them stacked up next to each other On the left, you have the stock Goodyear Wrangler. It is a 265/65 on a 18-inch wheel. On the right here, we have an Toro Trailblade XT 33x12.50 on a 20-inch wheel. Now, looking at them like this, it really doesn't look like their aftermarkets are too much bigger. If you do the math on the Goodyear Wrangler on this size wheel, it ends up being almost 32 inches in diameter, so like almost a 32-inch tall tire. On the right here, we do have a 33-inch tall tire. It looks a lot different on a truck though, because you have bigger wheel, much less sidewall over here versus a smaller wheel and more sidewall. Now, the big difference is like the width. The Goodyear Wrangler, this is like 9 inches wide just about, where the Toro here on the 20, it's 12.50, so 12.5 inches wide. And then you can obviously see the tread different. This is a highway tire. This is meant for like fuel economy, normal everyday highway driving, nothing too crazy. Now this thing is not an all-terrain, but not a mud terrain either. It's a crossover, it's an XT. It is pretty aggressive, if I may say myself, like all the knobs and stuff on the side. It's kind of cool. Okay, now weighing these things. Here is the stock wheel and tire for the truck. Let's roll this over on the scale. Make sure she's turned on. I'm going to do my best at not pressing down on the scale so we can get an accurate reading, but I do need to hold the tire straight. Okay, so it's saying 68.6 pounds for this guy right here, the stock Goodyear Wrangler. 68.6 pounds. Bye. Now, this guy, I could feel the difference already just trying to move it around. Alright, the stock one was 68.6 pounds. This big guy, let's roll this up on the scale. We're looking at 96.4 pounds. 96.4 pounds. Alright, so we have the aftermarket's 96.4 pounds subtracted by the stock one, 68.6 pounds, 27.8 pounds heavier per wheel, so times that by 4, 111, it's really hard to say, 111.2 pounds heavier overall on the truck. So 111.2 pounds always on the driveline of the truck now with the new wheels and tires. Not to mention a more aggressive tread, so a little bit in a wider width, so a lot more grab, if you will. So like the stock highway tires, they kind of roll much more freely because they're not so aggressive. These things do grab a little bit more, so not only are they heavier, but they have more drag on the road. So it's kind of like having like a small child or like a small woman in your vehicle at all times, but like on the driveline itself. So it puts more stress being on the driveline than being like up inside the cab. Also, it is fair because I did 3,000 miles with the stock wheels and tires and now 3,000 miles with those. So I want to get these things thrown back on the truck. I'm not going to make you guys watch that. I just wanted to really see how much heavier the aftermarket wheels and tires are, and I hope you wanted to see that as well. It's kind of cool. So almost 30 pounds of wheel and tire, almost equaling like 110, a little over 110 pounds. So that's a big deal. So I'm going to get these wheels and tires back on the truck. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned. Like the video if you haven't already. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next week.